He was in a lot of different countries. Uncle Bob was during World War II, and
In
then
Africa even.
Africa. Okay.
He, when he went over, he went over to Africa because there was a German army and the American armies were fighting in Africa.
Is that Rommel? That's who was the German?
Yeah, I think, no, Rommel was, yeah, maybe it was Rommel.
North Africa, anyway.
Yeah,
So Bob was in some landings then, probably.
yeah. Well, Bob's worst problem was after he'd been over there for quite a number of years, he ran into a bigger, pretty big officer who recognized him. He had served under this bigger officer. Or this bigger officer took him out of the line and sent him back to gave him papers to go back to the States for a recovery period.
Because he'd been there a long time by then.
He'd been there for years by then.
Years,
And so they took Bob out of wherever he was. I don't remember where that happened.
He went to Italy, didn't he?
That was in Italy, I think, yeah. But they took him out of there and took him up to England, and with instructions that if the first time a plane had an empty seat, to take him back to the States and put him into the Louisville Military Hospital for recovery. And then they would decide what they would do with him after he had gone through his rest period. Well, on the way coming back, when he was in England, they took him on a plane down to some island, and then they landed there and refueled and stuff. Then he got back on a plane to go again, and he crashed in the ocean. The only one that got out of the only two that got out of the plane was a pilot. He was from Dayton, Ohio, and my brother Bob. And he got out of it because he was grabbing life jackets and stuff like that, food, and while they were going down, and everybody else was kneeling around praying, nobody was getting themselves ready to land in the ocean. And the only two got out was my brother, and this pilot from Dayton, Ohio. But when he landed in the water, he was in the water for quite a while. But he had a big life jacket on and stuff. And so an English ship was coming by, and an English ship saw this plane go down, and it hunted till it found where it was, and they pulled my brother. Well, he said a young kid jumped off of that big high ship in the water and grabbed him, but he was well protected with a big life jacket, and he wouldn't go down. But the English boy, he had a loud voice, and the other guys in the small boats looking for survivors. They put him on this boat and brought him back to Louisville, Kentucky.
So he wasn't in the water very long then?
He wasn't in the water very long.
Okay.
No.
So they saved the pilot too? Did they find the pilot?
That pilot from Dayton, Ohio, they found him, both of them. And all the rest of them, I don't know how many it was. And we found out about this by getting a copy of the newspaper article from Cincinnati, from the Newport Library. My brother Bob, he went to the library a couple of times a week, reading the headlines and the war stuff after he was released. And when I saw those things, when I got back in Akron, I mailed the Newport Library with a check to hunt for any articles that had anything in them about my brother, with my brother Bob's name, and make copies for me. And they did. They sent me a bunch of copies. I then made copies and mailed them to Mom and others. But I saw somewhere I must have those those clippings from the post office. But where the hell did we put it in this
Who
place?
knows, yeah, it's probably gone. I remember seeing, way back on Center Street when Bob was still alive, he had that the newspaper itself,
Yeah.
like up on the wall, that described his, coming out of the, being saved out of after the plane crash in the ocean.
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that Bob also found, this is going back to the Grandpa Denner, going to prison, he found some newspaper articles about that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And those are probably gone somewhere, who knows?
Yeah. Those were in the same batch of articles that I got copies of. I mailed copies of some of those things that I got to my brothers and sisters.